What the research does is it provides two outputs that are useful for policymakers. The first is, what are the total monetary damages associated with the release of a ton of CO2? That can be used to set policies that determine CO2 emissions at the country level or at the state level or something like that. The second thing this research does, it provides granular information down to the county or the district level on where and how large damages will be. And that can be incredibly useful for policymakers who need to figure out how to devote scarce resources to adaptation. So should they focus on agricultural extension, or should they focus on protecting lives from very hot days? So what I think research can do is that the trade-offs between all those things are going to be different depending on where you are in the world, depending on how rich you are, depending on your current climate. And what researchers can do is help articulate the contours of that trade-off by understanding how big the air pollution problem is where you are, how much additional electricity is valuable, and how prone you are to climate damages. Air pollution is the greatest current external threat to human well-being on the planet, and it's deeply underappreciated. The average person on the planet is losing about 2 years of life expectancy to air pollution, but that is very, very unequal. In the United States, it's probably less than half of a year. In Pakistan, it's 4 years. In China, it's 3 years. In India, it's like 5 years. And yet, in too many places, there's an acceptance that that's just the way things are. And so I think what IGC researchers can do is provide the public with information on what the damages of air pollution are to them, and that information can be useful for helping policymakers devise policies that are responsive to the urgent need of confronting air pollution.
Public policy is dynamic, and since it's evolving, you have to keep yourself abreast. The researcher needs to keep himself or herself abreast with the fast changing pace of policy work. So the researcher cannot take 3 to 4 years for a policy question to answer, and by the time he answers the policy question, that question is already obsolete. So the policy question needs to be answered with the pace that is required.